Welcome to today's Homeowner with Danny Lipford. Expert advice on improving your home from the pages of today's Homeowner magazine and professional remodeler Danny Lipford.
You know, the kitchen really is the center of family life. You spend a lot of time in this room, not only preparing meals, but helping kids with homework and entertaining. Seems like when you have a party, the guests always end up here in the kitchen. Now, this may be one of the reasons why kitchen remodeling is one of the most popular home improvement projects there is, and also probably the reason we're getting a lot of letters and email requesting more information on kitchen remodeling. So this week we're looking back at several kitchens we've remodeled over the last couple years and give you some great tips on some of the things you need to consider if you're about to remodel your kitchen. Stay with us here on today's Homeowner. Welcome back. As I mentioned earlier, kitchen remodeling is as popular as ever, and one of the most frequent requests I get is to replace old stained cabinets with painted ones like you see here. Another request is to remove any overhead cabinet that will obstruct the view from the kitchen area into an eating area or living area. Now, this is where you start on kitchen remodeling, is to identify the problems you have in the kitchen or the things that just simply don't work. Then use that as a game plan to map out all the solutions in your kitchen renovation. Now, let's take a look at some things that motivated a recent kitchen remodeling. You know, I'm sure many of you have an older, out-of-date kitchen like this one that's 20 years old and starting to show a little bit of wear and tear, both on the countertops and on the front of the cabinets. You know, there's several things in this kitchen that the homeowners never really liked about it. And one of the first things is the canopy that covers the range vent that's really takes up so much room. We'll be eliminating that to give it more of a spacious feel in here. You know, that's a strong trend in kitchen remodeling, is to try to create a larger feel to the room. By eliminating this will allow us to do that, as well as eliminating the fur down that we have around the top of the ceiling here. By removing it, and we're fortunate here that there's no utilities or any plumbing or electrical lines inside the fur down, so we'll be eliminating that when the new cabinets go up. We'll have a 3-inch crown molding that'll continue right around the top of it, giving a good decorating opportunity on possibly some plants along the top of it, baskets, plate collection, or even some indirect lighting. Also, the new kitchen will utilize space a little bit better by putting in tilt-out drawers in front of the sinks and the stovetop to give you a little extra storage there. Now, since we're eliminating the center vent hood, we're going to also move the stovetop over to this side of the kitchen and use a downdraft unit to exhaust it through the cabinets and to the outside. Then we'll be putting in a real popular item in kitchens today, and that's a prep sink or vegetable sink that'll be placed in this area. Now, to supply plumbing to that, we'll need to come back in from the kitchen sink and trench in the concrete to bring the water lines and the drain lines over to the new island that'll be installed here. Once the homeowners identified what they disliked about their kitchen, we worked with them and a kitchen designer to develop the plans for their new dream kitchen. Now, these plans called for some drastic changes. Now, let me just show you a few of the things that we're doing to correct some of these problems here on the plans. And any good, successful remodeling project, of course, starts with a good set of plans. Now, the location of the sink itself will stay in the same place. And, of course, the new location for the stovetop will be on this side. And we've also been able to add a lot of roll-out shelving, a lot of good wall cabinets, some glass fronts on a lot of these cabinets will really make a big difference. Also, we've relocated the original place for the refrigerator over to the other side of the room and added a space for a second refrigerator. One will be a refrigerator and one will be a freezer. Now, the popular second sink that we're seeing in a lot of kitchens now will be located in the island. Now, in order for us to get the plumbing out to that area, we've had to drop back and jackhammer into the slab, and we were lucky to find an original 2-inch drain line and copper pipe to tie into. So this trenching will have to take place. This is the location of the new area, and we'll have to have a trench like this to accommodate that pipe. To guide you through the process of designing your dream kitchen, consider using a kitchen designer. Now, the National Kitchen and Bath Association will provide you with a list of certified kitchen designers. Now, they're well schooled in how to properly utilize every square inch of space you have available and keep you up to date on all the latest kitchen trends. Later in the show, we'll tell you how you can contact the National Kitchen and Bath Association, and we'll take a look at that finished kitchen. But first, our simple solution for the week.
Get ready to review your fix-it list as Danny and home repair pro Alan Lyle show you this week's simple solution.
Now, this door leads between the garage and the living area of this house, and this is one door you really want to keep shut, but kids always tend to leave it open.
Boy, they sure do, and it's probably one of the best reasons to install a door closer, which is what we're doing today. Now, in the past, commercial type closers have been too bulky, they're too expensive, they just don't work well in a residential application, but we found one that works real well.
Yeah, it's, smaller and it's more streamlined, and I understand fairly easy to install here.
It is very easy to install. What we've done, I've taken a template and pre-drilled some holes to the top. And that's very important because it's the beginning of the installation that really makes the project work right. There.
Now, when you're screwing this into a door, particularly one like this that is a hardboard door or panel type door, you need to hit your screws right at the top edge of the door so that it'll fit into one of the supports that go around the perimeter of the door. That way it'll hold it good and tight.
Okay, we've got the first part in, ready to do the second part. I'll tell you what, Danny, I'll trade with you here.
Okay.
What we're going to do is now install this part to the door. Always good to have an extra set of hands here. We're going to put this in the door jamb, I guess I should say. Now, what's great about this, not only can you adjust it as far as the rate of speed for closing, but you can also put it in such a way that it will hold the door open if perhaps you are bringing in groceries from the garage.
Cordless drill certainly make it easier.
All right, now one other nice thing about this, you'll notice it's not that old chrome look that looks commercial. It's a putty color which blends in nice with the door, but also this can be painted.
Now, even though it's a very simple device, it can solve a big problem with leaving a door open like this. Downdraft cooktops like this have become very popular because it allows you to ventilate downward instead of having a vent hood hanging from the ceiling. Appliances are an extremely important part of any kitchen, and more homeowners are spending some good quality time in researching the exact type of appliance they want for their new kitchen. Now, I'm also seeing a lot of homeowners spending more money in going for the higher end type appliance for several reasons. Many times they'll last a lot longer than a standard line appliance. Also, they seem to perform a little bit better because of their commercial qualities, and in the case of a dishwasher or a trash compactor, they tend to be quieter when being used. Now, recently we talked with an appliance supplier who gave us some ideas about those high-end appliances. A very important aspect of any kitchen is the selection of appliances, and to talk with us about that is Tom Hanneman. Now, Tom, in a kitchen like this, it's obviously a very high-end kitchen. I see a lot of stainless steel being used. Where does stainless steel come from?
Well, Danny, in the high-end kitchen, usually most of the appliances are stainless steel. The trend is stainless steel, and it's really the most popular. Beginning with the ovens, the convection ovens over here, we have convection on the top, and they are stainless steel.
Okay, and the black accents on that looks real good too.
Exactly.
But tell us about this unique cooktop.
Well, the cooktop is very unique. It's a 6-burner professional cooktop, 15,000 BTUs per burner, and it comes in different selections. You can get the 6 burners like the client has picked here. It also comes with 4 burners with a grill, or 4 burners and a griddle.
I see, it's real versatile.
Another feature of it is it has the extra low simmer feature where these 2 burners actually cycle on and off for sauteing or simmering, things like that.
Good, good. Well, of course, I know proper ventilation is very important in a kitchen like this, and you certainly have a unique unit here.
It is, Danny. Ventilation is important. On a hood like this, you can actually take the blower and mount it up on the roof for ventilation. It gets all the noise out of the kitchen and it works more effectively. It also has these warming racks that you see here with the infrared lights that you can take food that's prepared out of the ovens.
So it just actually clips down then?
It clips down. It has infrared lights that come on, and you can take food that's prepared and set it up on the racks for right before you serve.
Well, that's perfect. There's no excuse for a bad meal out of this kitchen.
Exactly.
Now, built-in refrigerators is something I'm seeing a lot too. I know you have one around the corner here.
Okay.
You know, one of the good things about a refrigerator like this is it's virtually even with the countertop.
It is, Danny. It's the exact same depth as your countertop, 24 inches deep.
Now, another thing, I noticed that the refrigerator actually is above the freezer, but they're all in one unit.
Right, the refrigerator's on top. There's 16 cubic feet of refrigeration. It's all at eye level. You go to your refrigerator at least 90% of the time and everything's right there for you.
Well, that's great. I like the depth of that, or the narrowness of that actually, so that you don't lose things in the refrigerator.
Right.
Now, let's see, ice maker.
We used a stainless steel fronted ice maker that produces about 50 pounds of ice a day. We've also put in the kitchen a stainless steel compactor, and last but not least, the stainless steel dishwasher. It's a stainless steel fronted dishwasher. A stainless steel interior also uses very little water, very little soap, and is extremely quiet.
Okay, great. Well, Tom, I appreciate you taking a few minutes and showing us around and teaching us a little bit about these upper end appliances. Now, those were some expensive appliances in that kitchen, probably more expensive than you really need for the average kitchen. But you need to consider, how are you going to use that kitchen before you select your appliances? Now, you may be going for that gourmet kitchen or just a simple kitchen where most of your meals come out of the microwave. You really need to do your homework.
It's time to check out the Home Center for this week's best new product with Danny and today's Homeowner Magazine's editor-in-chief, Paul Spring.
Paul, I wish we lived in the kind of world where we wouldn't need any kind of locks and therefore we wouldn't have to keep up with all these keys.
Well, Danny, Wiser Lock has done something about it that you won't be able to throw away all your keys, but instead, for the front door, just like your car, you're able to carry a remote access device and don't even have to be standing right at that lock. Give it a try.
Great, that's easy.
There you go, it is that easy. You've got a 1-inch steel hardened deadbolt that's really going to provide some security, and it's that easy to make it happen.
Now, I guess it works from the inside as well, so if you were, say, sitting on the couch and someone was coming to visit and you knew who it was, you could activate it the same way.
That's exactly right, Danny. Or if you're standing at the door, you can also just press that button and there you go.
Okay, now what about retrofit situations where you have an existing front entry door? Will this fit a standard opening?
It sure will. There's no hard wiring or anything, and it's a 2¼ inch back set, so it's standard for either an existing door or a new one.
Okay, now obviously it's battery operated.
It is. It has 4 batteries right in here. They'll last about a year, but it'll give you a warning when they're starting to get low. In fact, you also have an audible sound that tells you whether you've successfully locked the door or not.
Great, okay. Well, of course, if you lose your remote or when the batteries go dead and you don't realize it, I guess you can always go back to the keys. Cabinets, countertops, and flooring really define the character and the cost of any kitchen. So you need to spend some quality time making those selections. All of those surfaces really need to be compatible. Now let's look at how the cabinets changed the kitchen that we showed you earlier in the show. Boy, the cabinets look great. Now, several weeks have passed since we were here last, and you can see a lot of progress has taken place. Cabinet man's been able to complete all of his installation, and the ceramic floor man has finished his work as well. But the big event of the day is the installation of the granite countertops. You know, the granite countertops will make a big difference in how this kitchen looks. They're about to arrive on the job site now. Granite is probably the best countertop surface you can get. It's also one of the most expensive, and you can see it's very heavy. To transport a large slab like this island top takes some hard work and a lot of care. Now let's look at some of the features included in these cabinets. Now, we were able to use every square inch of the space in this kitchen, and adjustable shelving throughout that allows you to actually remove the shelving if you're not to use it in this way, or adjust it for any use that you may have. And little convenience items are real important, like a little rollout that we have here in front of the microwave that allows you to put a pot or pan here and work with it before you put it in the microwave. Of course, another thing that you see throughout the kitchen is the little rollout trays like this that gives you accessibility to the far back part of all of the base cabinets. Plus, when you open this up, you can really see everything that you may have in here. Also, pantry right next to all of the refrigerator and freezer here is nice. And you know, one of the things that they did that also made a big difference in here is changing out the floor and the style of the floor. Now, this is a ceramic floor instead of the vinyl that we had before. It's a 12-inch by 12-inch, has the gray grout and kind of a copper, kind of a background color to it that matches the background on the granite countertop. So it ties these two surfaces together, which is real important. Now, talking about being able to get into certain areas in your base cabinets, there's nothing better than like a Lazy Susan, which have been around for many years, and they really give you the ability to reach way back into the corners there, and it works real easily by rotating around. Now, the rollout tray that I'd mentioned before, one of the best places to use it is under the kitchen sink. You know, this seems like the place that always catches almost everything, and you want to throw everything back in there. This one's built to where it'll slide under the garbage disposal and all of the plumbing that you have there. You know, glass doors like this are real popular, but you have to use them a bit sparingly because it puts too much pressure on you to keep everything nice and neat. Having a few nicer cups and saucers and so forth in here really gives it a little bit of color, really looks nice. Also, being able to tuck your appliances away like this in an appliance garage and having an outlet behind it makes it real convenient and keeps the countertops nice and clean. Another feature is vertical storage like this that allows you platters and pans and this type of thing, racks, to be stored. Makes it real easy, and this is a perfect place for it right here. Well, as you can see, we've made a big difference in this kitchen. Another feature in a kitchen that can make a big difference is the breakfast bar. We get a lot of requests for this. Now, it's just an area of the countertop that overhangs about 12 to 14 inches, allows for a good informal place to eat. Now, it can be down to this height, which is approximately 38 inches, or raise it up a few inches up to 42 or 44. It's a perfect way of providing a little bit of a visual break between the living area and the kitchen. You know, every kitchen can reflect your personality if you do your homework and plan it right. Stay with us next. We go outside for Around the Yard.
Now for a bit of news from the great outdoors as Danny takes a look around the yard.
Lawn sprinkler systems have become very popular in most parts of the country. Of course, proper maintenance is a must. Now, here's a few tips how to get the most out of your sprinkler system. Keep all grass and dirt away from the pop-up type sprinkler heads so that the movement of the head is not affected. Also, occasionally adjust the travel and speed of the sprinkler heads. This will give you full coverage of your lawn. Also, another good tip is to clean out the dirt from the inside of the sprinkler heads. This is done by removing the head and flushing it out with a water hose. Now, as your plants and shrubs grow, it may also be necessary to extend the vertical sprinkler heads. Now, this is easily done because most sprinklers are plumbed with a PVC pipe. So you simply cut the pipe, add a small section of piping, glue it together, and this will allow you to get maximum efficiency from your sprinkler system. It was great showing you some of our kitchen renovations. You know, when you remodel your kitchen, not only do you make that part of your home more enjoyable to live in and work in, you're also increasing the value of your home. Actually, over the last few years, studies have shown for every dollar that you spend in your kitchen, you get back about 90 cents on that dollar during the resale of your house. Also, when you're designing your new kitchen, remember the National Kitchen and Bath Association. They can give you some great guidelines on what to look for in designing your new kitchen and give you a list of designers in your area. Thanks for joining us this week, and I hope you'll join us next week and every week for Today's Homeowner.